Hey guys, it's Krishanti with Krishanti.com talking about psychic development and spiritual and personal growth. And someone asked me to cover a concept and a thing that happens to a lot of us when we are awakening to our spiritual abilities or our psychic abilities, or we're going through a spiritual awakening or just opening up on different levels. And that is the feeling of a pressure on your head or on your shoulders. And I wanted to add to that feelings that you might get around your ears, ringing in the ears, different things like that. So from my personal experiences, because I learned how to be psychic and I worked at it, when I adamantly and directly decided and set that intention to connect with my guides, to receive high-level guidance from the other side, I started to feel like a tickle, my face. And then now, it's been happening for years now, and it's still happening now. I'll feel something definitely like a tickle in my ear. And then because I'm so attuned to energy, that I could feel like a energetic sort of pulsation going through me when that happens. And I know that that's my guide. It took a lot of practice for me to get to that level and realize that. But the person that asked me to talk about this, she's really working at paying attention to synchronicities, to signs, to messages, to working with her angels, to opening up to her own intuition and to knowing herself as a soul and spirit having an earthly human incarnation. So she's focusing on all of this. She's working with me. She's taking workshops where she lives. And she said she definitely felt like a pressure on her shoulders, and she felt this feeling as though her angels were with her. She felt a comfort, a feeling of safety. And to that, I say I believe that it is a guide or an angel or a group of angels working with her and helping her feel that reassurance. Now, they're not in physical form, they're in energy form. However, when you really begin to focus and to meditate and to set that intention to be open, what they can do is, because they are energy, and we are energy, our auras surrounding our bodies are energies, they can kind of, I don't want to say intermingle, but they can have an effect on our energy fields and on our aura that we, if we're sensitive and we're paying attention, definitely feel. Many people, when they first start meditating and really working with the chakra systems, will feel a pressure pressing on the top of their head. And so if we're getting into the nitty-gritty of this, there is a difference between the feeling of a chakra opening versus a guide or angel touching you. And how can I really explain it? I'm trying to figure out how. I'll give you an example. I know without a doubt that when I was beginning to meditate many moons ago, and I would focus on lifting up and on just really coming higher up, there's something to that too. When you're coming up, it's you're bringing your awareness out of your lower chakras and up into the upper centers. Now, I was meditating because I wanted to be psychic and get good at being psychic. And when you're working with your psychic centers, you're working with your throat, your third eye, and your crown chakra. At least in the way that I was taught and the way that I teach. So these all open up. And then when you're working on the crown, which is the center that connects you to the divine and kind of hooks you up with that, when it opens, you'll feel a pressure, your crown will be pressured. And what I've noticed too is that, in the spiritual sort of community, I guess, or what I've been taught from when I was very little too, is that you don't really monkey with someone else's crown chakra. And I think that in the spirit world, that would be the same thing. So guides and angels, they're not going to be really pushing on your head, because that crown chakra is very, very a sacred space. So a guide will instead maybe be on your shoulder. Sorry if I touched the little mic and made a sound, but a guide will be like on your shoulders, or will tickle your ear, but not necessarily pressure your crown or your third eye, unless you give express permission for the third eye center. Now, just to be clear about all this, this is my experience. I'm not saying this as like this is the rule and that's it. This is just what I'm noticing, what I've been feeling, what personally, and then what my clients have reported and what I've read about and heard about. So that's what my framework of conceptualization or understanding is about the crown. Now, as for the third eye, if you're really focusing on it and on opening it, you will feel a tingling or a different sensation. I personally have noticed that at times when I'm working with my guides and the Ascended Masters who I channel, they'll help with that opening. But it's like I'm deep in meditation, or I've expressly gone there and asked them to help. I never felt any old willy-nilly guide or angel like touching me on my third eye. Again, that's for me always been around my ear and that like wisp sensation. As far as ringing in the ears, I think all of us who've been meditating and are trying to activate our psychic superpowers and our intuitive abilities have felt this ringing in the ear. And it means that you're shifting frequencies and there's an opening, especially if you're working hard on clairaudience, which I worked so hard on to get good at because it's not one of my natural skill sets. I'm naturally clairvoyant. That comes so easy to me, but clairaudience, I had to work at it. And I was like working on my ears and like opening those channels. And so sometimes I'll get like a high pitched, like ringing, like really loud, and I'll know that something's shifting and happening on different ears. And what's happened with me is, though, for the clairaudience actually coming through, it doesn't come through like someone's talking really loud in my ear. It's just like a different channel in my brain where my normal chit-chatty self, because I'm always talking to myself in my head, that's quiet. She's quiet. And then they come through and I know it's them because they use words that I don't know the meanings of, and they speak differently, the energy is different and all that. But I digress because that's all about channeling. As for the pressures, if you're feeling a pressure or a sensation and you're okay with it, go with it and ask your guides to help you to recognize their presence, or angels to help you be more aware of when they're around and when they're touching you and what message they'd like to convey to you. If you're not okay with it and you don't like it, you can ask them to back off and just say, I'm not cool with you coming into my aura, because that's what they're doing. They're coming into your aura and your energy field, and they will back away. You have dominion over your environment and your personal space, and they won't invade that either. They shouldn't. They typically only come with your express invitation and your willingness to work with them. The more willing you are, the more they'll step forward. The more excited you are, the easier this will be. So I hope that helps. And for more info on this whole world of intuitive and psychic development and personal and spiritual growth, check out krishanti.com, because I've got workshops, meditations, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.